manufacturers track their machines carefully, but often ignore how information moves through the plant. What's the first sign that both of you perhaps that their data flow is breaking?
The first thing we typically see, and again, in software, it's easy to sort of see the core metrics or the key performance indicators, as they like to say, is exceptions go way up. If something is broken, then exception handling will go up. Things just aren't getting done. They're falling out of the line. So we'll see exceptions go up. The second one is probably, there's always queries of the line. And the queries will just take longer. So you'll ask for, torque deviation and based on a certain log, and that just isn't readily available. And that typically is because there's a lot of manual work getting done, and they do need to go back and crunch numbers. Whereas, again, if it were automated, that should be at their fingertips.
You probably see stale data, stale analysis, right? If you have KPI dashboards, in which a lot of organizations do, you'll see strange numbers, things that, why are things this way versus what you would expect them to be? Then you start chasing down, hey, why is the data this way, right? Then you'll see what could have been broken bridges in those data collections.
What's the one decision that still needs to be automated? Whole day we heard in the sessions is autonomous plant decisions. What's the one decision that still needs to be automated for a plant?
Only one.
Pick one.
Well, I think, one of the things that was mentioned today is, advanced process control is almost, that's the most autonomous plant operations, really, together with the DCS, right? It is able to continuously adapt the set points, but it is only able to adapt within specific constraints if you're using first principles approach only. Now, by combining with AI ML and doing a hybrid AI ML and first principles based approach, then you can potentially widen the operating envelope so that it can adapt more flexibly and more accurately based on these changes in the plant conditions, not just in the steady state, but also based on bigger changes in the plant. So that's a key area that is at your fingertips, really, to be more adaptable and automated.
Industrial AI learns from history as AI overall, but history isn't always clean or complete in industrial settings. How do you prevent bias or bad data from distorting what AI learns?
Maybe. You need to have a good practice and good methodology to deal with data. Fortunately, the industry has been evolving in how to capture, how to maintain the data, right? And that we have seen. So before, trying to get data from history was messy, a lot of gaps, noise, etc. Now, companies are getting better practices to keep the data, clean the data, etc. But still, there are some challenges. So you need to have procedures to pre-process the data. I'm coming back to the use cases. You need to know what you're looking for. It's not getting all the data and trying to solve world hunger with that. No, you're going to look data that is specific to solve problems, challenges that you want to tackle. And that way you can get the real value. So procedures to clean the data, have a clean data pipeline, and from the other side, know what you're looking for.
Eric, from the documentation perspective?
It's a wholehearted agreement, because that's exactly the field that we're playing in. The pre-processing perspective, that's where we see it, making sure that from a documentation and the information that sits in unstructured information or unstructured to files, to basically convert that pre-process and make sure it's accurate, so that once it hits your AI models, you can be rest assured that it actually comes in with the accuracy that you expected, and then you can democratize it and anybody can access it in their natural language. But I wholeheartedly agree on the pre-processing side before you let it hit your models.
When AI moves from lab models or from pilot to live plans, what's the one thing that never goes as planned? Maybe Ciro started to.
Yeah, that's that is our daily life, right? So you test your systems in the lab, and then you go to a production setting. There is always a configuration that is different of the standard configuration. There is always a change that happened that somebody made in the system that is not mapped in the lab system. So you need to do a proper test, and that's key. So you need to have a clear methodology to do your factory test from one side, and then you need to do your site test, validate that everything works before you go to production. And that's, is 101, but it's so important because always there is a change in the configuration of the system that you didn't saw before, and that is going to screw the entire solution. So you need to really have the discipline to do a proper test before you go to production.
Plants have decades of data buried in PDFs, maintenance logs, or old system. What's the smartest way to bring that forgotten data into modern AI use without starting over, Eric?
So without starting over is it may be a big word, but what we see with our clients that are starting to embark on this mission is basically, first of all, I wholeheartedly agree with Cesar that you can't load up all the data, and you can't you got to select your use cases, you got to select your sources where you go. But what we've also seen is that different AI applications have different capabilities in this space in the unstructured data side. So there's AI models that are really good at language. Mm-hmm. There's AI models that are really good at pictures. There's AI models that are really good at categorization. So there's different uses for different pieces of information that you find in your unstructured files, right? Mm-hmm. And so we believe that making those decisions and working with expertise partners that can provide you the accuracy, that have been working in your industry for a long time, such as Honeywell, is crucial to make a success out of that. And we've been operating in that market similar about 23 years. So really understanding what's needed and where do you send it to before you basically start democratizing it.